Testing.
Well, I knew he was hiding somewhere.
Okay. I believe, I'm under the impression that we now have sound. Okay. We've got a viewer here. I don't have my chat set up. Wait. If you're even in the chat, is it just me? I'm just speaking to myself. Oh wait, let me put the cam on. Here. Yeah, okay. Okay. Now I have the chat as well. Whoever that one person is. It might just be me. It might just be me. Regardless. Wait, can I do let me go studio mode. And, let me do this. And we are live. We are live and we are alive. Hugo in the building. How's that one person doing? Who is that? Don't be shy. I'm gonna be real with you. I was hoping to have more planned, but this is the topic of discussion for today. When did I come up with it? approximately 5 minutes ago. This was kind of 4 people, Jesus. This is like the most I've had. I'm starting to get nervous. The topic, I've got my Diet Cola. Carcinogens. Alright, so that is the topic of discussion for today. Let's get it going. This eraser needs to be larger. Alright. What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about self-belief. And the topics we're going to go through. I'm making this up, by the way. Just a flow of consciousness. Deciding what's important on the spot. Right? This is obviously something you can revisit later on. And expand on the idea. I'm not a big fan of making notes. Because I'm very forgetful. I'm very forgetful. If I make a note, I'm not going back to it. You know, and I'm very jealous of people that have the ability to have all these notes and then constantly go back and check them. For me, the best thing is just how much memory can I hold right now? Is the camera even on? It's on, but there is definitely a stream delay. Okay, I'm like, I don't even know how long away. Like, I'm watching the stream right here. Wait, where am I? I'm watching the stream right here, and I'm like quite far behind. I don't know how far. But anyways, I wonder if I can change the delay next time. I prefer to have less of a delay. But anyways, that's for next time. So, what is self-belief? Maybe not what is self-belief, but let's what can we go into? All right, we can go into okay, audio seems to be working still. We had 1 viewer. Now we have just 1 again. You know, that means that the low effort, whatchamacallit, is kind of effective because people are clicking on the live. I'm being recommended. So, we're going to talk about self-belief. Okay, what are we going to speak about? Number 1, self-belief. And this is kind of the crux of it. It has to do with identity. Who are you? Who are you? And what does that even mean? What is this you, right? Identity. Let's think. Self, that's the belief. Yeah. Okay, we're breaking it apart. Is my camera even working? Is the stream stuck? Or am I watching? I'm like terribly conscious of the stream right now. How far delayed am I? Jeez.
station and get me a ticket on the 11 o'clock.
This is very, this is very irritating. I have no idea what's going on. For some reason, I don't know, I don't even know if this is going to go out, but for some reason the stream is just not happening. I'm just getting an error. And I don't know how to fix that. Okay, let's break it down. I believe I can fix this. And this is just for me because apparently you can't see this. I believe that I can fix this. Alright, so what are we looking at? So it says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Okay. Why am I dropping frames? That's number one. All right. I'm just gonna ask ChatGPT. I'm live on YouTube and OBS is dropping frames like crazy. My internet is fine. Is my internet fine? Let me do an internet speed test. Okay, let's do a speed test. Just so you're aware. I actually find the, I wonder when that's gonna appear. But I don't like this crazy delay. This is just for me because apparently you can't see this. That's fine. Okay, I am dropping frames, and I have no idea. Upload is low. Why is my upload low?
Just listen.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay, we figured it out, but also we have no idea how to fix it. I'm gonna message people in the house to see what's going on with this internet, because that upload speed is horrendous. It should not be that low. And you know what? This on the day when I get like 6 viewers is kind of ridiculous. All right, this is 10 views. I've got 10 views. This is the most views you ever get. As to me. So for about a minute, the stream was healthy, and that's because I restarted it. Do I have 2 of the same stream now? Stream quality is still poor. You know what? You know what? This should have been pre-recorded. All right? This should have been pre-recorded. No, live is better. I prefer live, but c'est la vie. This is the kind of stuff you got to deal with. You know, I mean, life will give you challenges. I'll just write down these notes in a separate section. Life, young Padawan, will give you challenges. But you cannot allow it. And allow is the important word here, imperative here. You cannot allow, because it's a choice. You cannot allow these challenges. Life will give you challenges, but you cannot allow them. Referring to the challenges, the word them. It, them. Allow them to change how you view yourself. Bow. Right? And so that's our little internet speed test corner. And the final aspect of this I'm gonna keep doing speed tests, but since we're here, and you know what, if this doesn't work, I might just come back on thunderstorm warning. When is there a thunderstorm? What? As of thunderstorm Wednesday. Whoa! Holy shit. There's a thunderstorm in 3 hours. The problem with AI in this regard is that there is an absence of self-belief when you know, we'll get into it. I'm gonna save this. I'm still trying to figure out the still trying to figure it out. So apparently there are some large files being uploaded using the Wi-Fi. So it's an unfortunate coincidence. There is a lesson in everything. There is a lesson in everything. We could be upset. In fact, I'd say that we probably are. Let me see. Let me do another test. Doing another internet speed test. Download is 92. Upload has improved. Not amazing, but 20, 21, 22. Okay, it went up to 20. Error again. It just went up. Anyways, how do you get the chat up here? I'll have to figure out the chat as well. I've been on live for 42 minutes. But you know what? It's actually better now. It's actually better now. I hate this so much. Okay. All right. And now that it's fixed, we've gotten can't control. But and you know what? Guess this. Check this. Internet speed started from here, and now it's here. And we couldn't control that. You know? Right? But in the future, a possible future could look like this. But our outlook will be here. And you know what? We're human. So it might go down. But the goal will always be as high as possible. Right? Control can't control. Okay, stream quality is now excellent, and you know, I feel like we lost all our viewers. Which is fine, I guess. Which is fine. I mean, we did our best. We did our best. I am back to being the only one watching. 30 seconds. Okay. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna put my seat up. Lock the recliner. And we're gonna lock in. Because technically, this stream just started. Okay? Technically, the stream just started. Okay? And we managed to get a lesson out of that too. We managed to get a lesson out of that too. Because in life, everything is a lesson. Lesson? Oh, that's a color. Okay. I wonder if I can still get used to the controls. There we go. Everything is a lesson, and we can derive lessons out of everything, but at some point it does become just thinking about stuff all the time, right? Let me finish my drink so I don't drop it. I almost did. Leave that there. Okay, everything is a lesson, so. That's what we're gonna get into. So, I don't really have an idea of how I'm gonna go about this, but I think let's just go one bullet point at a time. That's too large. Identity. And identity is a tough one because it's a tough one. Because what is it? You know, it's abstract. Because that's a therefore. Because is there a symbol for because? Because what is that? You know, it doesn't really. You know, I want to get the official definition. What is the official definition of? Put it down over there. Let's get that here. I'm gonna pull a gamer move here. Save that. Identity. Okay. Identity means. I actually don't want it here. Can we delete this? Don't apply. Yeah, get that out of here. Identity means who a person is, including the distinct qualities, beliefs, personality, traits, and expression. Expression. Little reference to yesterday's stream that makes someone unique or similar to a group. So we're seeing aspects of one of my favorite things. We're seeing aspects. Maybe I can do better. How do you draw a circle? Alright, this is going to be me attempting a circle like 1,000 times. That looks good. There's the you. There's society. You. Inside. Society. And then society. Inside you. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? In layman's term, because I like layman terms, because it represents your understanding of something. In my opinion, and other smart people's opinion. Not that I'm smart, but I just agree with it. because it makes sense. Standing on the shoulders of giants, we are. The way I like to think about it is identity is who you think you are. And also who society thinks you are. Right? There is who you are. Correction. There's who you think you are. And there's who society thinks you are. And who you think you are, you think because of yourself belief that that is your identity. I'm writing like sideways. and then society thinks because of your actions. That is your identity. Because the brain, if I were to draw one, should I? Let's get artistic. I want to draw a brain. I want to draw a brain. I'm messing up with the tabs here. I've got too many tabs now. Let's see. Brain. Let's pick a reference. It's kind of like yikes. Detail is not my strong suit. Ugh. Ugh. We're just gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again until we get it right. No, again, I have this tendency to go diagonal, so let's try to force ourselves. Too boxy. Let's try to force ourselves to stay a little thicker. That might have done it. Let's try to copy some of the lines instead of just doing gibberish. Ooh. You know, this is already coming out a little better. I wonder if the way the lines are put affects how you see it. A little bit of distraction. It's good for the brain. Maybe if I put some of these around, it might look... I don't know, it might be making it worse. Sure. Your brain is essentially a black box. You don't know why it works the way it works. Other people, society, doesn't know how it works. Science kinda knows how it works. But when there is a disconnect between your self-belief and your actions, that causes a problem. All right? And so that you have some identity issues. What you do doesn't match what you think of yourself. Right? And so there is something to be said about if you're not being understood the way that you believe yourself to be, does that mean that you're wrong or they're wrong? And that is the most important question, right? And I think that's what bothers a lot of people. And because of one reason or another, they decide to go one way or the other. They either have supreme self-confidence in themselves, or they become incredibly insecure and yearn for validation. This is on two separate this is on two separate ones. Maybe I can wonder if I can group these. No. Yeah. So we've done identity. Moving on, because our next topic is self-talk. Self-talk. Yapping, essentially, to yourself, right? And kind of building upon the previous section, actions, right? There has to be a level of congruency. Blech. Congruency between your thoughts and actions to create a complete identity. Oh, phone's on low power mode. Where is the charger? Is it even here? It's in my bag. Never mind. Hopefully we can make it. I'll just put the brightness low, I guess. So there has to be a congruency between thoughts and action to create a complete identity, because if they don't match, then you begin to not otherwise. You stop believing yourself. And this is bad. This is no. Boo. Wrong. Stop. Stop believing yourself. Right? So to create that congruency, you have to combine self-talk with actions, right? And the thing about self-talk is that it can change who you are. It can create the person that you think you are. And most often, and I'm not sure why, most often our brain accepts the negative self-talk, because positive requires negative self-talk is more powerful.
Let's see if we got the facts straight. Gets me to San Francisco just in time to catch the next boat for Yokohama.
Because society is cynical by nature. It's just who we are. We're suspicious creatures. We suspect that that there's a catch to everything. We suspect that there's a catch. So no person, regardless of how good they may seem, or how good they may be, what our brain believes, whether it's a self-preservation mechanism or otherwise, you'll always lean towards the negative. There's always that paranoia in everyone. And if you think that you don't have it, it's probably because you do a really good job at convincing yourself otherwise. Because you can get over this just by ignorance or disbelief, which is or can be effective, but I believe that there is a higher path. I believe that there is a higher path. Right? And because of this reason, most often when we talk about, passive self-talk, let's call it. We talk about passive self-talk, where you're not really actively trying to form the person that you want to be, leads to negative results. most of the time. Most of the time. It's pretty schizo. I'm just kind of looking at the whole thing. But yeah, so self-talk must be active. To achieve positive results. You know, if you keep saying things like, oh, I can't do this, oh man, I suck, you say that enough times, and you will suck. And you won't be able to do anything.
Just exciting.
And that will result in poor actions. You know, or no actions in this case. I'm trying to think, have I missed anything here? The next section is creativity. Blech. Creativity. Confidence. Right. Yeah, that leads in. That leads in quite well, actually. Yay. I'm rushing. Or am I dragging? Confidence. Right. So, we've gone through identity and what that is, and how it's formed, and how your self-talk affects who you are and your actions. So now we need to divide creativity into two. Wait.
Will you go down to the station and get me a ticket on the 11 o'clock?
We divide that into two. Passive, which, in my opinion, you know, these are all opinions. This is my breakdown of the matter. Passive, the negative, and active, which, you know, you can actively think negatively if that's what you want, but active, positive self-talk. We spoke earlier about, you know, being passive with it and not really, you know, intending to circumvent, you know, negative self-talk by being oblivious or picking a side without having a reason to, you know, just deciding, which can help. But having a foundational reason for why you have that self-talk, that's what we're going to get into now. Right? Because when you're passively thinking about something, you don't have no foundation, and so it can go up or down. And so therefore, we get to use therefore now. Therefore, you're gambling with your identity, right? You cannot be passive. You cannot be passive. And this will all lead into creativity, aka confidence. And those two are very much related. Everything's inside your brain. You just need to access it by creating the right foundation of thinking, right? You have to know what's at stake. If you do not actively approach positive self-talk, if you do not actively approach this with a mission to lay a foundation to make your self-talk and your actions congruent, make them match, right? So if you have no foundation because you're passive and you're gambling with your identity, even if you have positive self-talk, it will lead to a lack of creativity and confidence.
Just listen.
That is my thesis. Even if you have positive self-talk, it will lead to a lack of creativity and confidence because you have no foundation for thinking the way that you do. Right? So, if you have no foundation, how are you going to build? You're just happy standing there on your lack of building. And a lack of, let's get that a little lower, a lack of, let's call it C and C, because I don't want to write that again, a lack of creativity and confidence will lead to low self-esteem. And what is the difference between what's that got to do with confidence? How is that different? Self-esteem and self-talk and all these different things. What's specific about esteem? It's your confidence in your identity. Right? You could have a positive outlook, but your lack of creativity and confidence will lead to your lack of belief in your positive outlook, in your positive self-talk. So you may say things that are positive. You may think things that are positive for no reason at all, and that may lead to some positive results, but it will not lead to creativity and confidence, which will lead to low self-esteem. And low self-esteem therefore, low self-esteem will therefore lead to spiraling, where you will lead to spiraling, or you will feel like let's see if I can draw it from memory. You will feel like shit. You will feel like shit. And feel good for no reason, just back and forth, just back and forth between feeling like shit and feeling good for no reason. No control, because no foundation. And now let's get into the importance of a foundation. Every morning, every day, I wake up and I think, eh, I am an artist. I am an artiste. Every morning I wake up and I think this. Throughout the day, this will go through my mind. And why is that? Because I have a definition of what this is. What an artist is. My definition of an artist is someone who does things. I'm making this up, by the way, on the spot. But this is what I think it is. Is someone who does things as a means of expression. Am I spelling that right? Expression of the soul. And this can mean anything. So therefore, everything is art. Everything is art. And that's my personal foundation. Everything is an expression of the soul. And so when I'm doing anything, I think, am I expressing my soul? And then if I think no, then I add soul to it so that it is now art. right? If I believe it's art, and because I'm expressing my soul, it's like this abstract feeling, right? It's like, yeah, this is expression of my soul. Then it's art, and it can be maths, it could be science, it could be traditional art, it can be anything. But I have that foundation, that is my belief, and therefore, I have confidence. Plus, I should keep a consistent. Therefore, I have creativity, because I always hate in pop culture where they show this artist who's like struggling to find some sort of, like, dude, I need some inspiration. It's like, you are the inspiration, bro. You are the inspiration. It has to come from within you. No, you just make decisions that make you happy. There is no right or wrong way to do it, as long as it is as an expression, as long as it is an expression of the soul. Right. If I know what that is, then I can never not have creativity. You know what I mean? And therefore, I may have to do things in life. I may do things. Where I can't be creative. And therefore don't have any agency in adding something to it. Maybe it's some client work or something like that. I have, however, I know I know my foundation. I know why I feel good when I do something, because I know it is an expression of my soul, my identity. And that's simply just a feeling of, yeah, that feels good. That's me. That is a representation of me. And so you have to do a lot of work in figuring out what you like and don't like, and you have to have an opinion. You need opinions. Without, like shitting on other stuff. Need opinions. Without hating. Right? You can have an opinion on things. You can like something and not hate the opposite of it, or something slightly different. You can appreciate it, but also know what you like and what represents you. And therefore, just because I might not be doing something, or I can express my creativity and my confidence and decision making, my identity is intact. And regardless of what someone else thinks or what society thinks, and going back to actions, if you're doing actions and you don't know why, you may end up believing what other people think of you. You know, what society may think, because you don't know how you got there. Therefore, anything that's, you know, out there that gets said, you can believe it. It becomes a possibility as to why, because if you treat your brain like a black box, which it kind of is, because anything that comes out of it is, you know, with regards to identity, is quite abstract. You know,
Did it ever occur to you that they might have used the phone to
you don't know why,
I should say we have.
and so you'll believe what people say, or at least you'll give it the time of day, and it might even, you know, you know, contribute to the spiral here, because like, oh, are they right? Am I right? Are they right? Am I right? Are they right? Am I right? Are they right? And so therefore, you have control. Because there's foundation. You know who you are, and you know why you feel the way you do. You know why you like or dislike something. And so the only opinion that matters is yours, because everything is subjective. Except morality. Morality is not subjective. But everything outside of that is subjective. And so, as long as you're not dealing with morality, you know, everything else is putty. You can play around with it. And you can shape it yourself. And you can shape it however. So to build that foundation, you need to, and this is where we go into our final section. The AI problem. Why is it a problem? It's going to be a quick section. Why is it a problem? It's fairly simple. To know, you must do. If AI does the doing, then you don't do. Does that make sense? If you don't do, then you're not thinking. Engaging. Pondering. Fathoming. Obviously, AI is a great tool. I use it. But only as an assistant. You know, to do legwork. Things that are just you know, getting a needle out of a haystack type of thing. Things that require patience, which is probably a bad thing and a topic for another day. But if AI does the doing, then you don't do. And if you don't do, then you're not thinking, you're not engaging, you're not pondering, you're not fathoming. Then there's no ideas. That means no opinions. Right? Write that research paper. Your ability to understand something and break apart its different aspects and be able to formulate some sort of, you know, way of looking at something is important, because it will teach you how to think, your very own version of thinking. There's a lot of things that AI does. You know, for example, let's say, you know, it loves working in threes. You know, AI loves threes. But what if the answer needs a fourth? Should I keep it consistent? If you notice with ChatGPT or Claude, where it loves writing things in threes, it loves doing things a certain way because it believes that's what good writing is, or that's what a good idea is. That's how you should break down something. Obviously, the more credits, the more complex it can think, but then again, there's nothing new there, you know? And only your brain, in your opinion, can think outside of that box and think of that fourth in that list of three. And it may not even seem related. It may not seem important. But your brain can make those connections. And you know what? As good as it's getting, maybe AI will make that connection too. But that ability to add on that fourth on that three, it unlocks neural pathways in your brain. It allows you to see the world differently. Your brain is unique and needs the exercise. And that will lead to, which will lead to opinions. My face has been outside of the camera the entire time, but it's okay. Which will lead to opinions. And those opinions which will create unique insight, and that feeling of expression of the soul, that's what that is. Your brain engaging with the world, thinking, coming up with ideas, working them, finding some sort of truth through them. Leads to truth. And that creates new ideas. AKA dramatic. Original thought. That, wait, THOUG, thought. Autocorrect has ruined me. I used to be really good at spelling. I guess I still am. Original thought, which is the basis for creativity, and creativity creates better self-talk because you have confidence in yourself, because you've done the work. You've done the mental legwork to have those ideas. And therefore, you form an identity with a foundation for its existence. And that's how you become an artist. I feel like I deserve an A. That I did well there. We got there in the end. All the troubles, all the technical issues. We got there in the end. Thanks to the 13 people that showed up while I was having network connectivity issues. 14. Half of them have got to be me. Definitely. But I was surprised to have like 3-4 people watching at the same time. It was really quite strange. At this point, I've really just become comfortable being alone in this, in these lives, which I don't know if it's a good thing. But, you know, practice makes improvement. I feel like I believe I've created a good argument there. I believe I've created a good argument there. We're gonna revisit this one day, and hopefully I'll yap less. What are we at? An hour 20? Okay. Frame drops are only at 13%, which is much better than the previous 60. which is pleasant. But I'm glad I was able to get through that. I think that was actually quite productive, because I was thinking about where to take that, and what I could even make out of that. To be honest, I just watched a video and he was talking about identity, and I had some of my own thoughts on it, on the formation of an identity and whatnot. And I'm glad I was able to work through those thoughts and create something coherent, because I agree with what I said. I believe that it was rational, and somehow I was able to, on the fly, connect all these together. This was improvised. But that's the point of original thought. You know, you going back to the first thing. Life will give you challenges, but you cannot allow them to change how you view yourself. This was quite tough as a brain exercise. But it might be easy for you, I don't know. But I just believed I could. It's much easier for me at least, to think about these things in my own mind, and I find I make very good rationale. But writing it down is different, and that's an exercise in of itself. Oh, we have a viewer. Hello, person. Is this someone I know, or is this bye stranger? Anyways, what was that? Like an hour and a half? That was an hour and a half, I think. I think I definitely have the capacity to do longer streams. Maybe I need to do a little bit better planning, because coming up with this shit on the spot is slightly mentally exhausting. I'm trying to think, have I missed anything? I really like how I did it there too. It was unintentional, but we went into see, this is the thing, right? I'm breaking down everything. I'm breaking down how I broke it down, because that's important too. The topic was self-belief, right? So self-belief, what does that mean? It's the self-belief. Who are you? Who do you think you are? So therefore, the first thing, the basis of it, the core of it, is in your identity. And your identity is based off of how you talk to yourself and what you do. And I do believe that the self-talk is where you start. Actions are, of course, important, but it all starts with the self-talk, and lead that into creativity and confidence. One would assume that actions comes first and confidence comes first, but I think that creativity is where you should look, right? Because what is creativity? It's just What is it? It's creativity. It's taking all those opinions, all those thoughts. Huh? It's taking all those things. This mess. And turning it into something solid. How do I represent solid? We did this yesterday, but I'm just gonna go with the light bulb again. Turning it into a good idea. And it, you know, creativity first, right? Because it's like your brain has all of these things, and a lot of people will think that they're not creative because they're not able to convert all of that into this. Or you know, I would argue that most people think that they don't even have this, which is incorrect. They have this, they just don't know how to convert it into this, into a workable idea. And it's that congruency. It's that ability to create original thought. You know, that it's your ability to turn this mess into something, which is the basis of creativity. And then once you recognize this ability in yourself, recognition in your brain's ability creates I've been doing caps, so confidence. I should do some more morning streams so I don't have this tired, raspy voice. And that's my thesis. I should write this down. Maybe tomorrow we'll work on verbalizing this in a more coherent way. Maybe. And that confidence leads to self-belief. You know, maybe I'm starting to think maybe some of this stuff is a little out of order, but I was able to connect it just by because I was going back and forth. Maybe some of these things can be, because in an explanation kind of way, it kind of works starting from the core and then how that core builds itself and why that's important. And a major problem nowadays with AI. But yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. I'm gonna save this. These are my notes. I mean, it's technically already saved on the video, but maybe I want to come back to this at some point, so I will save this. Save it as... What should I save it as? I'm going to save it as Self belief. Presentation. I guess that's what that is. Kind of like I'm on a whiteboard. Maybe I should use a different software. Save that. We'll come back to that later. And boom. Self-belief presentation. Wonderful. I want more of that drink. I also want more of my dark chocolate. I'm still on the same bar from yesterday. I'm trying to cut my calories. There's about there are 525 calories in this. If I spread it over 3 days, then on average I've had 100 and something, 160, 70, 167, something like that a day. And I'm trying to avoid it because I've already had a bunch today, and then the rest I can have tomorrow. Anyways, it's midnight. I am tired. I hope you find some use in that. As boring and as staggered as it was, consider it an exercise in patience, delayed gratification. Having to listen to me go and with my raspy voice. Gonna have some water, and I'm gonna go to bed. Thank you very much. How did I used to end streams? Started off with "We are live." Signing off? No. That feels derivative. I'll have to watch an old live. Maybe I just ended it. Alright, I'm gonna hop off. Hope that was useful. Stay Hugo. That's the mantra. Hugo in the building. Hugo signing off. Bye.